Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today we're gonna do a little get ready with me while I tell you the baby boy names we're considering, or I kind of like, but they're definitely not the right name for our boy. So if you don't know, I am almost 16 weeks pregnant. We found out we're having a boy and we cannot decide on a name. I really thought it was gonna be a girl. I even did a whole video of baby girl names I liked, but it's a boy. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of the names we're considering, so y'all can help me in the comments decide on a name. Or if you have any suggestions, definitely leave them below. Two important things for me: one, that it's not super short and that we can shorten it and make a nickname out of it, and two, that it's a good bilingual name, that it sounds good both in Spanish and English. But besides that, go off. And we have an older daughter. Her name is Olivia, and Olivia Rose, and she will be 2.5 when this baby's born. So help me out if you can. I'll leave all the products that I use down below, and follow me on Instagram and TikTok to keep up with me, and let's get into it. I actually have no favorites when it comes to boy names, so I could very much be saying one of the names that maybe is the name of our child, who knows. But I'm gonna do a quick makeup look and talk to y'all. So off the top of my head, there's a name that I never thought I would use, but I kind of like recently, but my husband already vetoed it. We're not gonna use it. It's the name Leonardo, but the nickname Leo. So just calling him Leo from the bat, but his name on the birth certificate would be Leonardo. This is my mom's brother's name, my uncle's name, and like I said in my previous video, I'm not like a huge fan of using other people's names like from our family. That's one of the reasons, but I think it's cute. I like that it can be shortened and that it sounds good both in Spanish and English. Along the same lines, we also have Theo. The main reason why I want to use it is because I feel like I cannot say Theodore. So that would be a fail if I can't say my own baby's name. It also doesn't sound great in Spanish, which is like my #1 priority, that it sounds good both in Spanish and English. The next one is Sebastian. As someone who grew up in Puerto Rico, where that is a very, very popular name, it just wasn't a name. It's a beautiful name that I really like, but it wasn't a name that was ever in my top choice for our baby, but it was my husband's, or it is one of my husband's favorites. I knew too many boys named Sebastian, and as cute as the name is, I feel like it's not the name for our kid. This is one of our top options, but I'm still not really in love with the idea. It would be naming him Lorenzo and calling him Enzo. I guess this is really popular lately. It's going up in the charts. People are just naming their babies Enzo instead of Lorenzo, but because of I want it to sound good both in Spanish and English, and I want a longer name so when they're older they can use that professionally and such, it's still not one of our top names. Lorenzo is also my best friend's little brother's name, so I associated with him, and as precious as he is, I feel like I already have an association with that name, and I can't see any other person being named Lorenzo. My husband really likes Italian names, and I don't know if y'all know, my full name is Filomena, which is Italian. Great grandmother is Italian, was Italian, so that's where my name comes from. It was her name. I do like a few Italian name options, but the top ones that my husband likes are Francesco, which I personally don't like for our family. It's a little too different. And then the other one is Massimo, with 2 S's. Again, I don't think sounds good for our family. I like Maximiliano. That's a name that's on my list that is pretty similar. I'm pretty sure it's the direct translation, but I think Massimo, I don't know, I just we're not Italian, so I just feel kind of weird using an Italian name just so bluntly, even though like I said, I do have Italian roots. But I like the idea of Maximilian and just calling him Max, but also it kind of reminds me of something I would name one of my dogs, so that's mostly why I'm vetoing it myself. This is a name that I've never really thought about, but recently, as I've been doing some research, I think it's really cute. It's the name Rafael, and just calling him Rafa. I feel like this name is very prominent in Hispanic culture, especially that nickname. I mean, my best friend's dad, his name is Rafael, but I don't really hear it a ton here, and I feel like I say it weird in English, so that's probably why I wouldn't choose it. But if we lived in Puerto Rico, I would probably go for something like that. This is another name that I feel the same way about. It's the name Enrique, and the nickname Quique. I feel like it's very prominent, especially in Puerto Rico. I knew a ton of Enriquez, and that nickname Quique is very, very popular over there. But I feel like in English it doesn't translate as well, and I don't want my son to be like struggling to explain his name like I do all the time. If we were American, I feel like I would definitely choose this name. Like if I wasn't worried about it being bilingual, it's the name August. I think this name is so cute. In Spanish it would be something like Augusto, which it's a little like older school, more vintage, I guess. Like it reminds me of like a grandfather. We probably wouldn't choose like a name in English and then have to translate it every time we say it in Spanish. It's just not my favorite thing, so we probably wouldn't choose it. But if we were just English speaking people, I would definitely choose it. Along those same lines of just English names, I really like the name Miller. I feel like if I have another dog, I would name him Miller. And randomly, We're the Millers is one of my favorite movies. I also like the name Miles. I also really like the name Arlo. I guess it's been rising in popularity in recent years. It would be Arlo in Spanish, and I just don't really love how that sounds, but in English it sounds so cool. It sounds like the coolest, like sweetest boy. Another one is Ford. I think we could potentially get away with Ford if my husband's last name wasn't Silva, because Ford Silva sounds like a car, a truck. Just doesn't sound right. If it was any other last name, maybe, because maybe like a Silverado or something is what it reminds me of, but no, like I would definitely not choose Ford. And then some random names I've written throughout the years in English are Covington. I have no idea where I got this from, and I have no idea if this is even like a boy name. It sounds like a last name, but I have it here. It also reminds me of Covington, Louisiana. I have the name Benson. I love this name. It's actually one of Olivia's nicknames because of Olivia Benson from SVU. Also wouldn't use it. In Spanish it would be like Benson. Sounds horrible, and like I said, it's like not very common. Back to actual names that we could use. We have Ignacio, but in English the translation isn't right, so it would be like Ignatius or something, which doesn't sound right to me. Another name that I actually really like is Diego. My husband doesn't like it. I don't know why, hasn't really given me many reasons, but he doesn't like it. Another one that I have here that honestly it's not my favorite, it kind of goes back to the Italian situation. It's Gianluca, but all one word. I just feel like it doesn't sound right, and this one was one of our top choices before we knew Olivia was a girl. It's Mateo. It lost the charm for me, even though it's like a beautiful name and it's very timeless and it kind of like checks all the boxes. I feel like something happened like between then and now that like the name just no longer is one of my favorites. It's just I've been searching names in the Social Security Administration list, and I searched one of like the most popular names in Puerto Rico right now just because I wanted to. I thought that would be a good in between, you know, Puerto Rico and the US. So surprised to see that the top boy name for the past few years is Liam. I don't know why it sounds so strange when I say that. I don't think I've ever met a Hispanic Liam in my life, but I also haven't lived in a Puerto Rico school in years. So as cute as that name is, as you can probably tell, I cannot say it right, so wouldn't use that one either, but it is a cute option. Funny enough, I've had friends text me like, you better not use a J name, so you know they're all, you know, fuck boys or whatever. I was like, oh my god. I had a history of only dating guys with J letters. Anyway, not the point. The point is I wouldn't do that because I can't say the word J in English. So I have a friend, his name is Jake, and I say it as if it was a Y, like I call him Jake. Does that make sense? I don't know. I really like the name James, but in Spanish it like doesn't sound right, and John, it's just too common. Juan I wouldn't choose, Jose I wouldn't choose, so like they're not my favorite names. The only J name I potentially really like is Javier, and just calling him Javi, but once again it doesn't like translate super well in English. So I just searched the top 100 names for boys in the US, and one of the names that I just saw is Julian. I think that's a really cute name actually. I don't know why we haven't considered it. That's cute. Once again, if we were American, I love the name Hudson, Grayson, any name that ends with O-N. I think it's so cute. Samuel, just not my favorite for us. Jackson is also kind of cute. I really like the nickname Jack, but once again I can't say it. Henry is really beautiful and timeless, but in Spanish I wouldn't even know how to translate that. Benjamin is also really pretty. I love the nickname Benji. I think it's the cutest thing ever. Oliver, if I didn't have an Olivia, it would be a top contender, but I cannot imagine having an Oliver and an Olivia. I will lose my mind screaming their names. So no. And Noah is also such a beautiful name, but it's just like a little too short for my liking. I would want something a little longer that we can shorten. Elijah was one of my favorite names back in the day because of Vampire Diaries. But once again, with the J situation, I cannot say it. But Eli would be a really cute nickname. And then William is also a really, really beautiful, like timeless name. I also really like Christopher and just calling him Chris, but my husband vetoed that real quick. So back to the Vampire Diaries obsession. Silas and Klaus with a K were on my list once upon a time. I also really like the name Austin. I feel like it sounds both good in Spanish and English, but because we live in Houston, it's really not my husband's favorite name at all. Oh, and the name Denver would be a top pick if we weren't searching bilingual names. So guys, that's everything for this little get ready with me and the baby boy names I kind of like. So hopefully this will give you like a better idea of names that I could actually consider, and you can give me some suggestions below, please. But that's everything for today's video. If you're having a girl or you want to see my girl name options, I will link that down below. And yeah, TBD on the name for the baby boy, but hopefully y'all can help me. I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you guys very soon in my next one.